Hey folks, it's been a while. I haven't been live for quite a while. Thought I was due. Gonna jump on and just talk. Do a simple one. What is centering prayer? Actually, the first thing I want to say is it's last week my book, Sitting with God: A Journey to Your True Self Through Centering Prayer, was out 1 year. I can't believe it's been out 1 year. So it's in Kindle, it's in paperback. So I just want to thank all the people that have purchased the book, paperback, or the Kindle. Thank you so much. I want to thank all the people that have taken the time to write a review after they've written the book. I have 80 reviews on Amazon and growing. So a big thank you to you. So as you finish the book, or if you've already finished the book, please just take a minute and write a short review and tell me what you think. And just be honest. It just helps other readers as they're perusing Amazon, looking for a book to read, and they see it. It helps them determine whether the book is a fit for them. So please take the time to do that. I appreciate it when you do that, and on Goodreads as well. And on Goodreads, I have 89 people marked as reading it, which is really exciting. So it's been a neat year. Um, I've been on a lot of podcasts. I've been on I would say about 40 in the last year, and I have about 15 still scheduled. And really, over the last since May, I've been doing a ton of podcasts. I've been doing anywhere from 1 to 3 a week, and just keep doing it because I just want to keep getting out, talking to people, sharing the book, and sharing centering prayer. So if you have a podcast or you know someone who does, and if I seem like a good fit, invite me to the podcast or invite me to your podcast. I'd love to come on. And I've also been getting in front of groups, whether it's church groups that do book studies, church groups, or groups that have centering prayer groups, um, spiritual director groups. I've been doing a lot of speaking via Zoom to various groups and coming on and just talking about the book, talking about centering prayer, talking about various topics, leading some of the groups into the centering prayer sits, and then really just responding to their questions. So it's been a whole lot of fun. So if you have a group that you'd like me to come talk in front of, please invite me. And actually, about a couple of weeks ago, I did a week by week book study that I did via Zoom. Anyone was welcome to come, and I just went chapter by chapter, and that was a neat, fun time where we just went chapter by chapter from 1 through 14 and talked about the book, and that was a whole lot of fun. And I'll probably do something like that in the future again as well. So enough updates there for you. I said I would come on and just kind of do some lives again. And so, what is centering prayer? Centering prayer is meditation and a relationship with God. So when some people will ask me, "You're just meditating," I'll say that is true. Centering prayer is meditation, but it's more than that for us centering prayer practitioners. It's meditation and a practice that opens us up to God. It's a relationship with God. So it's both a practice, but it's also a relationship with God, because during centering prayer, we're opening to the presence and actions of God within during this time. Centering prayer itself was created in the early 1970s by three Trappist monks. Specifically, Father William Meninger discovered or stumbled upon the method in a book called The Cloud of Unknowing. And then Fathers Thomas Keating, Basil Pennington, and William Meninger further refined centering prayer, began teaching it in the early 70s to other clergy and priests, and then really began rolling it out to the public, to everybody. And it was a reaction to Father Thomas Keating challenged them that we need to find something for Christians. Transcendental meditation is going on, and we need something for Christians. So centering prayer was created in the early 1970s, and then really rolled out to the public. And 10 years or so after centering prayer began, the Contemplative Outreach Organization was created, contemplativeoutreach.org, which is really the main centering prayer organization. A ton of useful information on centering prayer and resources on that site. and a ton of there's chapters or groups that practice centering prayer in the US and in all the states as well as internationally. So if you go on that site, in addition to all the wonderful resources that you'll see, you can find groups that practice all over the world on this site. So I encourage you to check out the contemplativeoutreach.org site. I believe I'm getting that right. And see what they're about, and see what information is on there and all the resources that are on there, and see where all the different groups are practicing internationally at this point, which is really, really neat. And then what is centering prayer? As I said earlier, I mentioned it's silent, wordless prayer created in the early 1970s, kind of the method discovered in The Cloud of Unknowing book by Father Menninger. Centering prayer, the guidelines are simply you sit comfortably with your eyes closed, and to begin your centering prayer sit, you introduce what we call a sacred word of 1 to 3 syllables, perhaps love, ocean, Jesus, God, some type of word. And that signifies you're beginning your practice and you're opening to the presence and actions of God within. And then whenever you begin engaging your thoughts, and what I mean by that is you begin thinking about things you did before your sit, or you begin thinking about what you're going to do after your sit, and you begin planning and plotting the rest of your day, you begin to realize you're no longer sitting with God. You're sitting with yourself. You're sitting with your thoughts. You're sitting with your planning and your plotting. And you reintroduce your sacred word interiorly to bring yourself back to the present moment, back to God, return to God, and return to the presence and actions of God with it. And you do this when needed during your centering prayer sit. If you're sitting for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you do use that word when needed when you're engaging your thoughts. And you don't use it as a mantra, and there are mantra-based practices. You only use it when needed. Sometimes you notice that you're not sitting with God and sitting with your thoughts, and you bring yourself back. Other times you realize, there I go again, and you use your sacred word. And let me say one other thing about the sacred word, and maybe we can better word for it would be sacred method. A word can be used if you're an auditory person, and that's what I started with when I began practicing centering prayer. But then I discovered I'm really more of a visual person. So I began using an image, a Jesus icon that I kind of came across on a Richard Rohr meditation many years back. So my sacred method is visualizing a icon, a Jesus icon, to bring myself back when I'm engaging my thoughts. You can use your breath to bring yourself back if you're more of a physical person. And some people practice with their eyes open and just stare at a spot, and you might call that a sacred glance, and they use that to keep themselves in the present moment. But again, the sacred method is not used as a mantra. It's just used when needed, and you want to stick with the same method, the same word or the same image or your breath during your sit. So as you're practicing centering prayer, if you discover you want to shift your method, don't do it in the middle of your sit. Do it at the next sit. Otherwise, you're spending more time focusing on what's my next method I'm going to use instead of sitting with God. And then at the end of the period, you might sit for a minute or two and then get up and resume your day. So that's essentially a little bit about centering prayer, what it is, how long it's been around, how you do it. And then the last thing I'll simply say is it's nice to put some bookends around your practice. And the main purpose is to sit with God. We sit with God because we love God, and we want God to heal us and transform us, and we just trust God during this time. And centering prayer really is a long-term marathon with God, where we come to our sits and sit with God. And sometimes you may come to your sit and you don't want to sit with God, and that's okay. That's a thought, and you let go of that thought and sit with God anyhow. But as I mentioned a second ago, sometimes it's nice to have structure around your sits. So I like to have bookends with my practice. So before my practice, I'm a big believer in affirmations. These are single sentence statements of goals I want to accomplish in my life related to my family and my mental and physical health and work and personal life and stuff like that. I read them and then let them go to God and let them brew with God during my centering prayer sit. I think of it as I'm partnering with God. I think of it as they're my true self affirmations, the things God wants me to do. Then I do my sit. And then at the end of my sit, I'm a big reader. I love to read. So I simply read 5, 10, 15 minutes from my book that I'm currently reading. Then I get up and resume my day. If it's my first sit, and if it's my second sit, or begin my day for my first sit. If it's my second sit, I resume my day. So that's all I wanted to do was pop on, share a little bit about my book, Sitting with God. It's been 1 year. Thank you for reading it. Thank you for the reviews. Thank you for all the podcasts I've been on. Thank you for all the groups that have invited me to come speak. And then just share what is centering prayer and talk a little bit about it. Plan on trying to pop on a little bit more often. As I mentioned, it's been quite a while. So I think I'm done for now. And I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody's enjoying the summer. Much love to all of you. Take care and have a nice night. If it's evening for you, or if it's morning or afternoon for you, have a nice rest of the day or evening for you wherever you are. Much love to all of you. Take care.